All right, sweet. All right, well, I'm ready to start.
All right, you're
Whenever
good to go.
you're good to go. All right, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary folks, welcome back to the Dead Film Critics Society. I'm one of your majestic co-hosts, Hayden Billing. It's been a minute because we're both very busy with our lives now. And joining me is my other esteemed and busy bee co-worker and co-host and friend, Daniel Lang. Say hi to the camera,
Hello,
Daniel.
everyone.
Yeah. So Daniel went to TIFF a couple weeks ago. He had a great
Did
time there. I was supposed to go with him, but food poisoning said no. So yeah, not the most fun time in the world. I mean, it's not for me. I'm apparently he had fun though, and he saw some great movies. Maybe he could.
yeah,
I don't know if he's allowed to talk about them, but
I can.
yeah.
Yeah, I can talk about a few of my favorites that I think you should definitely see when they come out.
Okay.
Um,
Sure.
yeah, but I'll keep it brief.
You wanna
I saw a lot of stuff.
you wanna quickly say those now before we get into the news?
Yeah, sure. So you should definitely see No Other Choice. That was my favorite film in the end. I actually saw that before the film festival in the end, but it was a TIFF selection still, so I still count it because it was a very popular movie at the fest. It sold out basically every screening. The first press screening was full, had to cut off like a bunch of people. It was serious, but it was a great movie. It's has a lot of things to say. The filmmaking is innovative and fresh in like so many different scenes. The filmmaking matters a lot to how the story is told. Like I could see the script being so much more uninteresting in the hands of another director, but Park Chan-wook is just he thinks different about how he films stuff, and that was in this case I really liked that approach to the story, and lots to think about afterwards. I wrote like a 2,000 words almost on it afterwards. I had a lot to say about it. Pretty much all positive.
Okay.
It's my favorite of the year. It might. I want to see it one more time, but it might be a 10 out of 10.
Nice. Wait, you said
Um,
that you might get to talk with Park Chan-wook. Did you end up getting to do that?
no, we did not have too much luck
Oh,
with
okay.
that distributor in any interviews. Really, not too many. The biggest film we got to see was a smaller can awards winner, and my editor is the one who did the interview for that because he's the one who saw it early. But that was also a good movie. That actually I'll quickly mention. Sarat is the name of the movie. Um, I think it's at Windsor Film Fest. Basically, I want to.
Hey,
Yeah,
shout out Windsor, guys.
yeah.
Hey.
No, I need to mention these because these are the ones that you should try to, if you have time, see at Windsor Film Festival. Because it'll probably be the best time for you to see them. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So definitely see Sarat. I'm pretty sure that's one of the selections. Um, Hamnet is not a selection, but that was a great film at TIFF. Um, that was the weeper. It made me cry a lot. It was a very sad film. Jesse Buckley and Paul Mescal are amazing. Chloe Zhao is back, proving she is still a extremely good filmmaker. Because this film wasn't just sad because of its writing or acting. It did have a lot of purposeful like direction. Like it taught you the visuals are very much important to why I was like so invested in it. Especially even which is very impressive, especially for something that's pretty stripped down. Honestly, like there's not like many big sets or anything, or like set pieces, but it's very good. And then I guess the last movie I'll mention. Trying to think what else will be at Windsor because I do want to maybe recommend some stuff you might. Is Nir I don't. I have to double check. Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. I don't know if that will be at Windsor, but that is a fantastic film. It's from the guys who did Blackberry. It is the funniest film of the year. Um, what they do in the film just seems unbelievable. It's amazing. Um, yeah, you gotta check it out when you get the chance.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so those four, I would say. Oh, the other one I know I think is at Windsor is It Was Just an Accident. You should try see that for sure. That was the Palme d'Or winner. Excellent movie. Um, very harrowing final scene and final shot. Um, yeah, that's a great one too.
Awesome.
All
Okay.
right.
How was Wake Up Dead Man?
It was good. It gets a little bit lost in the amount of movies I saw because it's a good movie, but I saw a lot of good movies, and in many ways it doesn't stand out because it is a film that's trying to be as accessible as possible. But it does a very good job at that, at being that fun, pretty funny mystery thriller. I think I saw films that were funnier. I saw films I thought were smarter, but it does both of those very well. Of course, still at balancing those two. The cast is mostly very good. I'd say that some are not as um, like they feel just like the actor rather than the character in some instances. But I thought Josh O'Connor gets like the most prominent role. I think he's great. Um, yeah, there is something a little less satisfying about like the mental engagement in the mystery. Like I feel like he doesn't rope you into trying to solve it yourself as much as he does in even Glass Onion. But it's still, I think, a very satisfying payoffs and funny again. And it has some interesting things to say, I think, about you know these kind of figures that are in the film, religious and political influencer figures who are some of the people in this film. Has interesting things to say about that. So I feel like it serves a greater purpose. But yeah, good film.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. Yeah. Sounds good. Awesome. Yeah. All right. And then Frankenstein. What are we thinking about that?
Yeah, Frankenstein was very good. Um, I was enthralled from beginning to end. It is a really great, like, I didn't expect this, but it's a great story about stories in a way that I honestly kind of sneaks up on you, um, and made me really appreciate the structure and the way that Del Toro adapted it. Of course, it's just like it's a visual masterclass. I think his visual storytelling is pretty unmatched overall. Like, he doesn't have necessarily the prettiest or most enthralling dialogue, but I think the way he shoots the movie and how great it looks while telling a lot of stuff visually is very, very good. And I like the film a lot. I think it's very good.
All right. Nice. Good. Well, I'm happy to hear that. I look forward to seeing these movies once I finally, they finally come out. Obviously, it would have been nice to see them earlier, but it's good to know that you saw some great ones. So I'll keep an eye out for them.
Yeah. Um,
Great.
and then the other one,
Now,
oh,
oh,
sorry.
other one. Okay, here we
Well,
go.
the other one you might have saw was Poetic License, which was very
Oh yeah,
funny.
that's right. Yeah.
That was a lot funnier than I thought. It played really well with our audience. I would say at home it probably won't hit the same, but
Hmm.
um, still very funny movie. I think it would be funny anywhere, but obviously it was great laughing with the crowd. Yeah, that was maybe got some of the most like laughs out of an audience, besides maybe Nirvana. But even then, like some scenes are just such a riot, in a good way. Very so. Honestly, underrated overall. A good movie. Maud Apatow did a good job letting these actors in this pretty funny script
Maud
shine.
Apatow.
Yeah, Maud Apatow.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot she was. I forgot she was directing that. That's great. I mean, to be fair, she did grow up like with. She did grow up the daughter of one of the better comedy directors of the last like 20 years. So I mean, she was hopeful. I mean, I'm not surprised she's picked up a couple tricks. Well, at
Yeah.
least that's what it seems like. So.
She didn't write it, but honestly, it's probably funnier than anything Judd ever made. Probably,
Oh
in my
really?
opinion. I haven't
Ooh.
watched too many of his movies, but as a director, it's probably funnier than anything he's directed. Maybe not funnier than some of the stuff he's produced, but I think it's funnier than like a Step Brothers for sure. for example. But that's also Adam
All
McKay,
right.
and I notoriously do not vibe with him. But I tried. I promise I tried. Okay, I went into that movie
I know. I know.
trying to enjoy it. It was not. It is not aged well, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
it's on par with something like Superbad, I'd say.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. It's high
I'd
praise.
say
It's a
it's
good
close
movie.
enough. It might not last as long because it's just not going to get that moment that Superbad had. But
Ugh.
yeah. All right, we can go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You can go with the
Oh no, no, it's okay. It's fine. I'm always. I didn't. I totally forgot about Poetic Justice. So yeah. Wait. That's the name of the movie, right? I just want to make sure I said that right.
poetic license.
Poetic License. Sorry, no, I'm thinking of it. I was thinking of a movie from the '90s. I was like, that doesn't sound right. But yeah. Anyway, should we get into news? Would you like to talk about some news?
Yeah. Did you have something you wanted to bring up first?
Well, I think the main thing we should probably bring up is the fact that I don't know, free speech is really under attack at the moment. We saw Jimmy Kimmel get canceled, and then brought back immediately, which kind of weaves into the themes of like the film we're going to be talking about today a little bit. Like he's somebody who is speaking out against a more, I mean, speaking out in a way like he's just a comedian, right? Like what he said wasn't like really that serious, but it did get him pulled off the air, and it does kind of tell us a lot about the political climate we're in now, like in the entertainment industry. And I just wonder what your thoughts are on that, and like what maybe that's going to mean for a lot of creatives going forward.
Yeah. Um. I mean, I think naturally it will only spur some people to be pushing the boundaries as much as they can with big
Yeah.
studios and with networks to, yeah, really give the most honest and sometimes searing critiques of this, you know, administration as is possible through art. And so, as far as something like Jimmy Kimmel goes, like obviously I'm not the most personally invested in what he's been making necessarily, but obviously it really doesn't make a lot of sense
Yeah.
for something like that to happen. It's a very shitty thing for Disney to feel so much pressure from the FCC and be so in fear of punishment that they take his, say they're going to take his show down until he, I guess, promises never to do something like that again. Over what is very mild compared to what we're seeing, in a very ravenous discourse around such a,
Charlie.
yeah, a
Yeah.
violent, significant attack,
Yeah.
you know, as much as you may have divided thoughts about the guy himself, you can't underestimate how much it's affected people, both good and bad,
Yeah.
and how it has been a very weird moment in a lot of ways, um, while also being one weird and terrifying to a lot of people, obviously, because, you know, in
Yeah.
many ways, for some, it's a way that you could see the Trump administration using that as an excuse to, yeah, crack down on anything that would appear to threaten any figures in the right wing. Also, in some ways, gives them more hoorah to be like, okay, let's take what Charlie said and make it, potentially even more radical and make it more part of our policies. And, we have to honor him in that way, which
Hmm.
is obviously not great for a lot of people because he had lots of hateful things to say about
Yeah.
people of color, about trans and non-binary
Gay
people, and
people.
lots of, yeah, just the LGBTQ plus
Yeah.
community in general had a lot of
Mhm.
not nice things to say. And he's someone who, as a Christian figure, I would personally say is, very much did not represent a lot of the qualities that I believe Christ himself was supposed to
Yeah.
exhibit, first of all, but
Yeah.
that a good Christian should also be striving for. And so then the
Yep.
fact that he's being turned into a martyr of sorts is a bit appalling for a lot of people. I understand his defense of free speech. I believe free speech is a very important thing. That doesn't mean that you should use it in the way that he does. Um, and even if he was going to stand by that, it's I always think of, I don't know if it was a specific quote that Malcolm X had, but when he was talking about resistance and political revolutionaries, he said something to the akin of, when violence from an oppressed group comes to surface, it is like chickens coming home to roost. You can't expect to commit oppression of the kind that people in America who associate with Charlie's views have held for, at this point, I guess, hundreds of years, and not expect you know, for some kind of resistance to happen to you at some points. And while you know, I don't think anyone wants to see anything resolved through violence, because we know it only begets more violence. It is not surprising um, to see something like that happen.
Yeah, honestly, dude, I think you really hit there. Like, I mean, I think people watching, and maybe not, maybe who don't know, Daniel's like, I would say you're a pretty devout Christian when you say, like, you go to church every Sunday, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've had overall like some more agnostic moments where I'm like,
Yeah.
it's something I don't think about as often. Like, I don't know exactly what makes you devout or qualifies you as a Christian. That's something, obviously, you
Uh-huh.
can talk about a lot. It's not something I talk
Yeah.
about as often, which is why I wouldn't necessarily always call myself a devout Christian in that sense. But I would
Okay, maybe
like to
not
think,
devout, but
yeah, but like,
you're a Christian, you feel like.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm very invested
Yeah.
still in how the church works, how, in people's faith, I will always talk about what people believe. Um,
Hmm.
in some ways, it's almost a procrastination. I'm very interested in what other people believe as a way to almost put off me taking a firm stance about what I think about things at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as, yeah, I guess I would say I do have interest in the Christian faith and have share a lot of their beliefs.
Yeah. No, and I only bring that up because, like, this isn't just like you talking out of your ass, or like, this isn't like gonna be going against like it's not gonna be hypocritical because like you do actually believe in a lot of the things that Charlie Kirk was supposedly saying he does. So I think that I'm not saying it makes you a full authority, but like it definitely gives you a bit more credibility when you're saying the things you're saying. So I just want to put that out there in case anyone
Yeah,
feels
like,
like
in theory,
wants
me
to
and
try and
him,
discredit what you're saying in the comments.
yeah,
So.
me and him have shared the same faith, and yet I vehemently disagree with a number of things he said. I disagree with a lot of what he stood for, and I think a lot of his rhetoric and what he did with his life was not to help people for the most part.
Yeah.
Um,
It was to grift and sow division, seemed like. And if
yeah,
I'm being completely honest, as somebody who is part of the community and somebody who has many friends who are of various different ethnic backgrounds, like seeing the way he like was vehemently opposed to any kind of like, affirmative action or, diversity inclusion initiatives, like it was really disgusting, if I'm being completely honest with you, because I mean, if the world were 100% completely run by white men, I don't think people would actually have gone to the moon, you know? There was a number of people of color who helped with that. I don't know if that's the correct terminology. I don't know if I'm allowed to use that, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's been so many great contributions to American culture from people of color and people of different backgrounds and of minorities, and I can never understand, like, why he was so vehemently opposed to it. I guess it's like just it is unfortunately a very wrong personal belief he held, but Yeah, and also his views on gun violence really. It was a little bit ironic because like he was talking about gun violence when assassinated.
Yeah.
Like it is like I in a way like I hear what you're saying because like I don't think anyone should be killed through political violence either. But we've seen so many like key figures in the civil rights movement be shot dead and killed. I'm not saying that he's like them, but like there was no sympathy from people like him when those people died, and now all of a sudden everybody wants us to feel bad for a neo-Nazi, essentially. Like, and I really can't. I mean, also the way he used the media, like his own page to further create more division like online is something that like we've talked about in my media like theory classes a lot, and it's like it is very interesting how he was able to weaponize misinformation and just like constantly lie. Like I remember one time, this is like really stupid compared to everything else he said, but he like lied once about like LeBron James never hitting like a game-winning shot in the playoffs, and I was like, okay, that's like easily proven false, and I just like wonder if he's able to lie so quickly about something like that, like to what extent do the lies go, and like how what agenda is he continuously trying to push to get there, But like yeah, so this was not a good person, and I must admit I don't feel bad that he's not around anymore. But yeah, I mean the impact of his death, we are seeing it quite a bit across the media landscape, and it is pretty wild. There's a lot of discourse right now happening, and it's interesting to watch from afar, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time on it because like, at the end of the day, we are a film channel, but I think like unfortunately, politics and the movies are very intrinsically linked. I think the sooner we accept that, the I don't know. I mean, like I know we do. We talk about this stuff all the time, but the sooner we can accept that and just like engage in that discourse in a healthy manner, of course, then I think we can understand the media we consume a lot better. So I hope that sounded like all right as well. I hope I'm not like sounding on my ass. Like I don't know. It's a very interesting subject matter for me. I've been thinking about it a lot recently. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it he is a person that, I mean, probably frankly doesn't deserve this kind of discourse, I would say, and yet he's still being propped up like that. It is, obviously you can't deny his following and therefore the amount of reactions it got out of people on both sides of the political spectrum in reaction to his death. So therefore, obviously, it was going to be significant. Yet, of course, he is one person, and you feel like we got to address also more the issues of the hundreds, thousands of people in areas of conflict, such as
Hmm.
Palestine, Ukraine, just
Yeah.
to name a couple of examples where people's lives are very much in
Yeah.
danger due to political figures he supports to a large extent, to companies that he would say should continue running as freely as they are, like weapons manufacturers, and that should be profiting off of what are inevitably losses of innocent life. Um,
Hmm.
and so,
I mean, even on the home front, like the policies he like opposed to limit gun violence have led to so much death and suffering. Even just like on the same day he was a school shooting, hardly anyone talked about it because they were so focused on him, which was really sad. Because I mean, it just seems like it's become so normalized over there. Like we've grown up in getting your school shot up is like a very rare occurrence. Like it has happened here, obviously, but like we don't come to school like kind of like head on a swivel, sort of worried as much every day, and there's not as many security measures in place because of it, because it just doesn't happen here. But I can't imagine what it'd be like to go to to be in a country where like that's a continuous threat to have every day or at school.
yeah,
Yeah, type shit. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry. My
it's okay.
bad.
Um, yeah,
Oh
basically
my god.
support any causes that are trying to actually save people's lives. I don't think that in the wake of Charlie's death, anyone on that side is particularly trying to support stopping something like gun violence or the restriction of gun movement, both within the country or overseas, which is kind
Hmm.
of stupid. Um, and they basically just accepted, yep, well, you kind of have to accept if you support gun violence that, yep, if we give guns to people and people like Charlie Kirk make other people mad, there will be never be someone with a gun who's mad and has a good enough shot. Um, which,
No
and it's
pun
like, oh,
intended.
because really then what? It's just, again, violence begets more violence or security begets more
Yeah.
depression. And that's not great for a progressing society.
Yeah, that's true. Uh, but anyways,
Yeah.
to turn to some more happy news so that we can cleanse ourselves a little bit because this is
Mhm.
it's kind of miserable in life a little. If you I don't know if you only listen if you only see like all of the news like there's some I mean there is good stuff here and that's what we're gonna talk about right now. I'm sure you probably saw the Emmys. Adolescence cleaned up, man. Like I was very happy to see that. That was a bright spot for me. I woke up and I almost had tears of joy because I was like, everything has been so miserable lately, and to see something nice like come out was just it was a nice breath of fresh air. I think like and also especially like it's Owen Cooper, right? The young kid.
Yeah.
That's what his name is. Yeah, no, he is the youngest male Emmy winner ever, which is I just think it's so fucking cool and so impressive. Like he deserves it completely. He was fantastic in that show, and I mean, he beat out some pretty tough competition as well. Like it wasn't he going up against like Gary Oldman from Slow Horses. Who else was he going up against? I can't remember. Oh, his own
Um,
castmate as well, bloody Ashley.
yeah, Ashley
Ashley.
Waters.
Yeah.
I think Gary Oldman is in Best Actor for a drama series, while he was in Best Actor for a
Okay.
limited series.
Okay. Okay. Let me
Yeah,
see who's going up
obviously going
against.
up against very prominent actors, but I mean, I think it's nice to finally see an award show acknowledge that a child can give a performance that just so clearly deserves to be awarded. Because
Yeah.
it so rarely happens at, especially the Oscars lately, for even nominations. So
Yeah.
it's very cool to see him actually get a win in this category. It's nice to see that. Honestly, definitely one of the better winners of the last few years. Not that necessarily they've been bad, but looking just at what other limited supporting performances have been nominated, I think this is definitely one of the stronger ones overall. One I
Yeah.
really liked and pretty much agree that deserved the award. I do like a lot of the other actors in this category. Like Ashley Waters was obviously great. Rob Delaney in Dying for Sex was very good. And I like the other actors like Peter Sarsgaard, Bill Camp,
Bill
Javier
Camp,
Bardem,
Javier
very
Bardem. Yeah, no,
talented people.
stiff competition, man. Fucking
Yeah,
hell, yeah,
but
no. So the
he,
fact that he was able to beat all of them is
mhm,
insane.
but he deserved
Yeah,
it. What can I
he
say?
did. No, honestly, can you imagine being 15 years old with a fucking Emmy award?
That is pretty
Like
crazy.
that
Um,
is such a flex, man. Honestly, I can't lie. Like that is gotta be like,
he
and considering this was like his first major role as well, that's
he
really
locked
impressive.
in. Kind of, yeah. I mean, not to say that kids can play like this is like maybe the most dramatic kind of role that a kid can play to some extent
Oh yeah,
because in theory kids usually don't have this complicated personal lives that would get them in dramatic situations. This is like one of
yeah,
the extremes that would, but obviously he pulled it off pretty flawlessly. And yeah, obviously the show was a huge hit and deserves that. It's a very good show. I don't know if we ever talked about it fully. Obviously, I think it's one of the best shows of the year. Maybe not the best
Oh,
show,
100%,
but
yeah.
definitely a great show and you know, became must-watch TV. I feel like I don't need to recommend it even because I feel like most people would have already seen it. But I guess if you haven't seen it, go see it. And yeah, good wins for that show. I'm hoping to see
Oh yeah,
everyone
bloody.
who was a part of it keep doing
Yeah.
more interesting projects.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of very talented creative team behind it, especially bloody what's his name, Stephen Graham. like seeing him get all those Emmys was great for him as well. I mean, like he's been working in the entertainment industry for a while. I've seen him in quite a few projects. Like I saw him in Snatch when I was younger. Obviously, I saw Pirates of the Caribbean a little bit. I don't know if you remembered he was in a couple of those movies, but like obviously he's had more talented roles, especially like in Boiling Point, and then
Oh yeah,
This
Bowling
Is
Point was
England,
great.
and this show as well. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he's a
so
talented guy.
happy to see him get recognized finally. So yeah.
Yeah, hope it gives him more freedom to do some more interesting projects too. Same with I think Jack Thorne was the guy who wrote it.
Hmm.
So I hope to see more from him too. I think he's doing some other interesting things. So yeah, good project that hopefully will prop up a lot of these very interesting British actors. A lot of strong British like limited series. Those have kind of been dominating the category lately, and honestly for good reason.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Like if you got last year you had Baby Reindeer, you had
Yeah, that's
I
right.
May Destroy You.
Yeah.
Um, those
No,
three
you're right.
are very strong. I guess the Queen's Gambit's it's American. I don't know why I thought it was British. It feels kind of British. I mean, just
Yeah,
feels more European, I suppose. And there are European
yeah.
characters, I think, but yeah, good good work from them. Looking
Ugh.
forward to those
Yeah.
continually coming out. Did you have anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, just one more thing.
All right.
I was just gonna like quickly mention that we got the first trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu. It dropped. Actually, it was funny. It dropped literally right after Disney had decided to cancel Jimmy Kimmel. I was like, it seemed like it was a way to kind of distract a little bit, but I mean, taken away from that context. I mean, the trailer seemed interesting. I don't know. I'm intrigued. I would like to give it a chance because I'm unfortunately still a bit of a Star Wars show. I do love Star Wars a lot, even though it's kind of been disappointing me lately, except for Andor. Andor has
Except
renewed my
Andor.
faith a little bit. Like, have you seen Andor season 2 yet? I don't know if we talked
Dude,
about
I
this.
still haven't finished season one, man. I watched one episode. I still
Oh,
haven't gotten back on it because,
that's fuck.
yeah, I've been trying to watch it with my brother, but we just haven't coordinated enough times to actually sit down together and get through it.
That's totally fair. But yeah, when you get a chance, get through it because I mean, I don't, you probably got a couple Emmy or I think it got an Emmy as well, which was I
Yeah,
was
for
very happy to
writing,
see.
which was cool to see.
Yeah, I know, like a Star Wars series getting a writing award is honestly crazy considering like the questionable writing choices we've seen lately. But this show definitely deserved it, and yeah. But anyway, so seeing like Andor kind of renewed my faith a bit in the direction of the Disney Star Wars. So I hope that this movie can be like concise to the point. You know, there's not going to be as much filler because it's not like 8 episode long TV series. Like the fact that they would even need filler for that is crazy. You know, but yeah, I don't know. I hope it's good. And I'm sort of interested to see Rhoda the Hutt looking all buff, voiced by Jeremy Allen White. I can't sentence I never thought I would say, but I mean, yeah, we haven't seen Rhoda the Hutt since that god awful Clone Wars movie, so he's gonna be like now. So I guess we'll see. Yeah,
Jeremy Allen White truly knows no bounds in his projects at this
for
point.
real. For the fact that he's gonna be Bruce Springsteen and Jabba the Hutt's son, like within a year of each other, is just wild.
Yeah, truly not letting himself get boxed in, I suppose. To I don't know,
I agree. Yeah, no,
to the
that's
bear. I guess all
yeah.
depressed characters. Well, maybe we'll see. I guess what he's like in. Well, that was actually. Do you have anything else?
No, not really. I mean, nothing really that's like too crazy. I don't want to monopolize get to the movie, so let's get through your, and then we'll get to talking
Yeah.
about
Well, the my segue was going to be from Jeremy Allen White's other project that has an official title now, is The Social Reckoning. Uh, used to be titled The Social Network Part Two. Did you know this was happening?
I did. I just saw. I was gonna say. I just saw this. Totally forgot. Yeah, no. I'm interested to see where this could go. To be honest with you. I've people have been wanting a sequel to this for a while, and I get why. There's been so much stuff that's happened since the launch of Facebook, so it makes sense to cover this. I do kind of wish they were able to get Jesse Eisenberg back, though. I feel like he would have been really good again, but I mean, you can't go wrong with Jeremy Strong. Fantastic actor. What are your thoughts? I don't mean to like hijack your opinions,
Yeah.
but
No, it's so you got Jeremy Allen White, Mikey Madison in
yes.
potentially her first role since Honora, because I don't think she's anything this year. Um, and you have Jeremy Strong replacing Jesse Eisenberg as. It feels weird to say replacing Jesse Eisenberg as Mark Zuckerberg, like he owns that role. I guess it is always the same writer director and used to have the same title. I would really like to think of them as separate films, though I know this film only probably got greenlight because of the Social Network's pristine reputation. At this point, is perhaps people like me who have kept watching it is the reason this film is happening. I hope that's for a good reason, mostly. Um, yeah, I think there's potential. I think it'll be fun to see Jeremy Allen White and Mikey Madison speaking Sorkin dialogue because I don't doubt that he probably still has the chops to write a really interesting film about figures in Facebook and how they might talk, or in his imagination how they might talk. Um,
Mhm.
Jeremy Strong is fine. It's almost like it feels like a joke casting that they wouldn't actually do, but I guess obviously, he brings some more eyes to the film overall. And you got Bill Burr, who's probably, assuming the film is about what I think it's about, 'cause I think it's supposed to be tied to partly how Facebook was used to coordinate the January 6th Capitol attack. Um, that's what he had said that he was working on. It might not be that exactly, but if it's that, I'm assuming he might be some right wing guy. I'm assuming it feels like he would do that kind of role. Um,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he definitely likes to make fun of those types of people, like Bill Burr. So I would not be, but he knows how to pretend to be them as well. So I mean, I think it would be kind of funny to see him in that role. But yeah, we don't know. But I don't know. I think Bill Burr's not a bad actor when he wants to be.
no, I
Like
don't think he's bad.
no, he's
He
pretty
just
solid in The Mandalorian when he appeared there.
yeah,
But
just an interesting pick for a Sorkin movie, in my opinion.
yeah,
Also not necessarily enthused that he's directing again. Think I don't know why he keeps directing necessarily. I'm like, okay, like Alex Garland, why can't he just take a script and give it to someone else for once? Like, why didn't that happen? Like, I would literally rather see almost any up and coming indie director take a stab at this besides him, because I just cannot imagine a Sorkin movie where I'm like, I saw something good that was new in the direction. It could be
okay,
good, like fine, but do I think I'm going to see something experimental or different that's good about how this film is made? Almost
yeah,
no chance. Um, no offense, I think Sorkin's a very talented guy and he's a competent director, but is just he is like the most boring pick to direct his own scripts, um, by far.
yeah.
So yeah, I wish anyone else was directing this. I hope it's good. I hope it has a if the script is mediocre, this is going to be a train wreck.
Well, fingers crossed it's not then. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh boy, I don't know. I'll give it a chance. I like it quite
yeah,
a bit, and I've enjoyed some of his directing efforts. Like I liked Molly's Game quite a bit
yeah.
actually.
I
That's one
liked
of my
Molly's
favorites.
game. I liked the Charles Chicago 7 overall.
Yeah,
I've liked his movies. I just think they could be so much more interesting in the hands of literally anyone else.
that's fair. It would have been nice if they got David Fincher back, but yeah,
Yeah, but he's
yeah.
doing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood prequel.
I
Yeah.
mean, you know what? I'll give it a chance just because it's him. But like,
Yeah.
it's like a movie that really didn't need to be made.
He's testing my faith a lot. Both of them
Yeah,
are. Sorkin's testing my faith in his scripts by directing his scripts and by doing something he's technically already done before. At least it's not called The Social Network Part 2 anymore. Thank God. That would have been,
Social Network, Electric Boogaloo.
yeah. And definitely setting itself up as a awards contender.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, what else was I gonna mention? I guess quickly, Millie Bobby Brown has a couple of new projects, including uh, a film with Gabriel LaBelle from The Fablemans and Saturday Night in Just Picture It, which is about two college students who are surprised when their phones glitch, showing them pictures from 10 years in the future as a happily married couple with kids. Um, Sounds interesting enough, but I mean, not. I don't have a ton of faith in stuff she's been in lately, to be honest. And
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. Honestly, outside of Stranger Things, she's kind of not picked great projects.
yeah, I heard someone say this, but and I kind of agree, where she's very much seems to be in it for the money more than she is for the artistic, you know, to try to be an interesting artist, I guess, which is
Yeah.
okay. I won't deny that she might help get a couple of interesting things made, but I mean, lots of her stuff has just kind of been very forgettable.
I would agree with you there, brother. Honestly, it's a kind of annoying because when she wants to be, like, I think we've seen some pretty decent acting chops out of her in Stranger Things, so it'd be nice if we could maybe see more of that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fair. She
whatever.
is playing Carrie Strung in this film called Perfect, which I honestly thought might have been in the hands of Olivia Wilde at one point. Unless I'm confusing these two American female gymnast movies. But she's playing, I think, the first woman to win gold at the Olympics for America in gymnastics. Um, Directed by Gia Coppola, who's been. She made The Last Showgirl, which got Pamela Anderson some attention, kind of launched her back into relevancy, which was nice. Might be, I guess, an Oscar player in theory, but I don't really see it going all that way for her, even, which I feel like would be the main play. But we could see some more interesting dramatic chops from her that we haven't really seen in anything else she's made other than Stranger Things.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, no, good points. We can see. Hope we can maybe see her. I don't know, shift a bit because I just don't know what she's gonna do after Stranger Things is done. Because like I don't know, I'm sort of concerned that she's probably just gonna fade in like pretty fast, like faster than some people might expect. So unless
Maybe.
she does something different, we'll have to see though.
Yeah, obviously, I don't think her agent or anyone around her is worried about her dropping out of relevancy quite yet, even post Stranger Things. Just with the fame that she already has acclimated and her strong association with Netflix, um,
Huh.
and that her projects outside of Stranger Things have been fairly successful. I think maybe not the Electric State, but that was not her fault. That was a
Or
$300 million movie.
Damsel.
Yeah, or Damsel. Yeah, I guess not. But you know what? Netflix doesn't seem to care too much. But maybe they're obviously going to put her in stuff that's a little less high of a budget, and hoping that it works out better.
Yeah.
We've got good word that Gore Verbinski, who did stuff like Rango and I think the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie,
Yeah.
has a new movie with Sam Rockwell called Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, which seems almost in the vein of something like Everything Everywhere All at Once. It has very good reactions from its screening at Fantastic Fest. think that's in Montreal. Yeah, maybe. No, I might be tripping. Um, Anyways, it's about a man from the future who arrives at a diner in Los Angeles, where he must recruit the disgruntled patrons to join him on a quest to save the world from AI. So, you know, obviously a hot button movie in many ways, just from bringing up AI, and could be an interesting film based off that.
Yeah, it does seem interesting. Yeah. I don't know if I'll make a beeline to go see it. I do like Gore Verbinski as a character. Like you said, Pirates of the Caribbean. Those were some of my favorite movies growing up. You know?
Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see what kind of like critical scores it gets once it's screened for
Yeah.
critics and everything. That'll determine if I see it, but it's on my radar now. Um, you got The Long Walk co-stars David Johnson and Cooper Hoffman reuniting for an A24 movie called The Chaperones. The director, I haven't seen anything else they've made, but they've apparently made a couple interesting things. I think they're very good together in The Long Walk. They are probably the highlight of the movie, especially David Johnson. I think he is
Yeah.
incredibly talented, and I cannot wait to see him take more and more interesting roles. He's kind of the future. I think he's someone who we should see in stuff as big as One Battle After Another or Marty Supreme. I think he should be getting that kind of treatment eventually, hopefully sooner than later. But
Yeah.
obviously he'll do some other stuff first, so people don't see him that way. But hope he's attached to more successful stuff because I think that should give him more freedom to hopefully be on the radar of a lot of other talented directors.
Yeah. No, I've heard good things about The Long Walk. I really want to go see it eventually. I think I'll probably try and catch it on like a Tuesday or something like that. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I look forward to checking it out. I like him as an actor. I mean, when I saw him in Alien Romulus, I thought he was like pretty good. The way he was able to do two different performances within the same movie for the same, essentially the same character, I thought was quite interesting. So yeah.
Yeah. We potentially have a Scorsese movie actually happening. It seems pretty set, hopefully. Um, Leonardo DiCaprio, big, Fork Found in the Kitchen, is starring. Um, and Jennifer Lawrence is also supposed to be in it. It's called What
Oh,
Happens at Night. The only thing we really know, I think, about the plot is that it has some attachment to Vertigo, because apparently Marty told Leo to watch it before they go to film this. So, I don't love Vertigo. It is considered one of the greatest films of all time. It's a good movie. I didn't really get it. That was not one of those historically critically acclaimed classics that connected with me, but I thought it was good. Um, I maybe just feel that way about Hitchcock films in general, though. I don't know if I've had one where I'm like, this is a 5-star movie. I'd have to check, but yeah. And I'll just last thing I'll mention is that we're getting a The Summer I Turned Pretty movie, um, which I will probably have to watch with Liv, even though we still haven't finished season 2 even, and obviously I've kind of been spoiled for it through Twitter, so I have no surprises awaiting me.
oh
Only
boy, you poor man.
potential pain and maybe fun cringe a little bit,
Hmm.
but hopefully it's not too boring. And then yeah, I mean it's so successful that it's almost shocking they're not gonna. They may continue it. Who knows? Maybe the movie will give them the potential to make a new spin-off show. I feel like that's the only logical thing for something like this that feels. While there is some artistic author, vision from Jenny Han, who's directing this now, it does feel obviously this is mainly made for money and views, rather than
Hmm.
any that much artistic expression. But I won't underestimate the writer of To All the Boys I've Loved Before, um, Do I think she's going to do anything remotely interesting in the directing? There's almost no chance. Even less so than Sorkin. But I hope she makes the most experimental and weirdest possible version of this probably very typical young adult rom com.
Do you think maybe we could have the characters making some good decisions this time? That would be good.
No,
From everything
no,
I hear,
never.
like everyone's doing something stupid on the show. So like I don't know.
Yeah, they're
I
all.
struggled to get engaged with shows like that. I can't lie. That's why I dislike Ginny and Georgia so much. I tried to watch it. I got through I got through season one. And I was like, okay, this is like kind of strange, but like sort of engaged. But then by season two, I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like this is just messy, but not in a quirky way. More like in a what's going on in the writers' room kind of way. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if I would be able to stomach the summer I turned pretty. So
Yeah, we'll see.
man,
Um,
mm.
it exists though.
It does. Yes, it does exist. That is true. You're not. That is factually correct. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess
Shall we get into the film?
it is finally
Sorry.
time to get into one battle after another, where
Oh,
a
so
film directed and written by Paul Thomas Anderson, inspired by the Thomas, I'm gonna butcher his name, Peiken novel. I definitely butcher his name. A white boy with a last name hard to pronounce is a dangerous man. Um, but stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn. Speaking of dangerous white boys, Sean Penn in this movie, Chase Infinity, Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall, Tiana Taylor, and Alana Haim. It is about how Leo, whose name is Bob in this movie, joined a group of revolutionaries, kind of led by Perfidia Beverly Hills, which is Tiana Taylor's character, and they have a child together. And 16 years after, kind of, I guess, the peak of their revolutionary activities, or the most intense, uh, the Stephen Lockjaw, who's been kind of hunting them down, uh, figures out how to hunt down uh, their daughter, and from there, she, Willa, and Bob, the daughter, get separated, and it's about the trying to for them to try to reunite. While there's a lot of stuff going on because Sean Penn's military is in town.
yeah. No. Fucking. That's a pretty apt description of it. I would say. Fucking. First of all, nice to see Sean Penn in things again. I haven't seen him in anything in a while, and I think he didn't skip a beat. He was one of my favorite parts, if not my favorite part of the movie. He's honest, I think. Like he is equal parts silly and menacing at times, which is sometimes a hard combo to hit. Because you can either be one or the other. I thought he was excellent in this movie. I could honestly see him get the supporting actor nomination. I don't know if he'll win, but like it's certainly possible to at least get nominated. But yeah. Oh, I saw a face twitch there. You don't agree, do you?
No, I just don't. So I think he'd probably get nominated. I hope he doesn't win. Quite frankly, he doesn't need a third Oscar for this. Paul Mescal also, I think, is very much better in Hamnet, but people haven't seen that yet, so I'm kind of like,
I haven't seen
guys,
that one yet.
I feel like people should be Team Paul once they see it, but everyone is kind of, I guess, Team Penn. Some people are a little divided about his performance, I know. I think he's very good. Um, some people think he's a little bit of a cartoonish, one-dimensional villain, which, like, I could sort of see that. I think he works for the movie, and he is in the movie a lot. Like, he's second billed for a reason. He is in the movie a lot. more than I thought he would. That man keeps showing up because he's got his own subplot going on where he has his own goal,
Yeah.
which I appreciate because if you want a good antagonist, you want to make him a little, you want to give him his own goals and quirks. PTA definitely gave him some quirks, as we
Yeah, he
know.
wants to be a white the key white supremacist. Like he wants to be part of that stupid rich people club where they just go around policing minorities. But yeah, then yes, it's revealed. Ooh, he fathered a mixed race child, so we can't have that. Like that was an interesting plot point, honestly. Like just to see how like the people he's working with were plotting against him the entire time, and he thought they didn't know. That was an interesting plot point. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Also, it was nice to see Tony Goldwyn again. Like outside of Oppenheimer, it was cool. I like. I think like he was. I mean, obviously he's not the highlight of the film by any means, but I enjoyed seeing him because I grew up with Scandal. So very
Yeah,
nice to see him in more things recently. Also,
he
I
was in
really
Hacks.
liked Chase Infinity in the movie. Like I was wondering where I'd seen her from, and then I remembered she was in Presumed Innocent, and I really liked her in that show too. She was fucking fantastic here, I thought. Like I know she doesn't have like a ton of acting experience under her belt, like at least like professionally from what I can see, but yeah, no, I thought she was excellent. I don't know what do you think about her performance?
I thought she was very good. I thought she was a bit underwritten. Like, she doesn't get as much to do. I could almost say that for almost every character. I feel like they almost get less to do than I think they could have, especially for how long this movie is, except for, like, Tiana Taylor and Benicio del Toro. I very much see
Oh
why
yeah.
they were in it as long as they were. Everyone else
Yeah.
felt a bit undercooked. I guess Sean Penn almost felt overcooked, potentially, to some extent because you don't expect a character like that to be in the movie as long as he is, but obviously it works for the plot. Um, yeah, I thought she was very good. I'm a little conf- I think she's very good. At the same time, she doesn't get as much time to shine as I thought she might, based on how long this movie is. Obviously, she's not in the first like half an hour, but this is obviously like a 2 hour and 40-minute movie, so there are 2 hours and 10 other minutes for her to be in it. And she's in about 30, a third of that maybe. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean she's good.
No, she goes through a nice. I like her character arc though. She goes from not giving a shit about it at all, really believing what her dad is telling her, to like kind of embracing it, which I thought was. I mean, it's a character arc we've seen before. I think it worked in the movie. I
Yeah,
enjoyed part of
I
it.
felt like she
Yeah.
was embracing it sort of the whole time, just not to the same extent because you know
Mm,
before she was just living a pretty normal life, and then she was besides her dad just kind of being a weirdo, and then she was thrown
mm,
into the fucking gauntlet with all the things that happened to her. And like obviously the nature of her getting kidnapped at one point, which is not a spoiler, that's kind of the synopsis. It takes a little bit for her to get kidnapped and for her to discover all these things about her mom. And I guess we should probably just drop a spoilers quickly right now in case you haven't seen it. Go see the movie, make up your own mind about it. When we find out that Sean Penn might be her dad, or Colonel Stephen J. Lockjaw might be her dad, which is a primary reason he seems to be going after her in the first place because she is evidence of his mixed race relationship. Um, and I guess he would have gotten away with that otherwise. I don't know. It is a bit of an odd thing to hinge this whole plot on for how big this movie wants to talk about. It's literally, and it comes down to one guy finding a woman who is willing, where he was in a power position, who's willing to engage his kind of kinks for a little bit, and then that kickstarts the whole plot. Um, you know, I know some people may have. I would very much be interested to hear what a black woman and black women in general would have to say about the representation of those characters, because especially Tiana Taylor and then Shayna McHale, whose name is Jungle Pussy in this movie, are very
That's
like.
actually her stage name in real life, if you didn't
Oh, it
know
is.
that.
Oh shit.
Yeah, she's a rapper.
God damn. Wait a second.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, didn't know that.
yeah,
That's interesting. But just about, you know, they do get a little bit of a one note thing. Like, there might be some over sexualization potentially. I could see some people having problems with that. Potentially, it didn't bother
yeah,
me too much. But obviously, you think about it because that's, the whole reason the whole plot happens is because of Sean Penn's actions and Sean Penn's power, and then Sean Penn's motivation to actually find her is the reason everything happens. So in some ways, he's almost more of a protagonist, one could argue, than Bob. Um, in fact, I would almost say like because he takes more active choices overall. I'd say obviously Bob is making his own active choices in how he tries to find Willa, but it's interesting how the film does that and does it pretty seamlessly. Like, it doesn't do it in a way where Bob is a completely irrelevant character, but that is just an interesting thing to think about.
yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, but I mean, going back to your earlier point about Tiana Taylor's character, I actually quite liked her. I think she does. There's a good amount of work with her with her little screen time that she does get. I mean, she's more of a supporting character, obviously, and she's mainly at the start of the film. But seeing her go through this whole journey of like from badass revolutionary to mom struggling with postpartum depression was an interesting turn on the story, and I thought her performance was like pretty good. And then obviously it gets to the point where like she's so like she's craving that lifestyle again that she gets reckless and then blows up her life essentially and becomes someone she never thought she'd be, and that's like some rats out her friends and kind of kills the movement, for a little bit. And I don't know, I felt very believable and very like it was well acted. I thought I hadn't seen her in too much because, like, I don't know if you know this, she's actually a musician as well, and she's a choreographer. She actually choreographed a Beyonce music video when she was only 16 years old. So she's been in the music industry for most of her life. I know that she's been acting. Like I've heard of movies she's been in, but I've never watched her before. Honestly, like I thought she was pretty fucking good. You know,
I mean,
like
yeah, I
I'm
think
not
she's a
gonna
very
nominate her best supporting actress, but I wouldn't be surprised if she did either. So
yeah. I
yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if she gets nominated. Her presence is very strong, and it kind of I think I agree with people when it feels like it lingers over the rest of the movie. Like you
yeah, it
reminded
does.
why everyone like she's the reason Sean Penn, Bob, and Will obviously
She's the
exist,
catalyst for the plot.
and you
Yeah.
can see why. And even the other revolutionaries were all affected by her and what she did. And so in some ways, yeah, she. It's very interesting how each character kind of becomes the protagonist at different points in the film with the different subplots and the whole kind of prologue that you get with her almost as a more active character than Bob. Again, almost every other character is more active at some points than Bob himself, which is a little weird for a Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Not that this is a bad thing, but obviously I think it maybe doesn't give him the most like I guess star making moments, but obviously he is a star and he doesn't need star making moments or Oscar moments necessarily. Um, he's very good in the movie. I think like some of the comedic beats didn't work for me. Maybe it's also just because the crowd wasn't into it either. That like I didn't
Mhm.
feel you know as welcome to laugh necessarily. But I thought obviously some of the stuff he did was funny, and some of the things that
Oh
happened to him were
yeah,
funny.
like him arguing with the revolutionary customer service.
Mhm.
That was probably the funniest part of the movie. I was killing myself laughing because like it's such a stupid thing that I mean, stupid in a good way that like a revolutionary organization would have power structures similar to like corporate America. It's like kind of ironic in that way, The guy taking the coded messages as a supervisor. It is
Yeah.
just sorry, I don't know if you can hear that. My friend just texted me, but yeah, no, it was a very funny interaction. I thought, so yeah, it just reminds me of when my dad they're not giving him what he wants, and they're just jerking him around. But Yeah, it was kind of it was. I thought that was a good plot point. It was pretty funny, but yeah.
Yeah, because I
Also,
mean,
oh, sorry, no, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah,
well, they aren't really jerking him
yeah,
around. They like actually feel well. That guy felt the need, obviously, to not give away the information. It's the whole code of if you're going to run a legal revolution or what's considered a legal
yeah,
revolution, then you kind of need to make sure everything's secure and you're not just giving away your secrets to the authorities. But yeah,
yeah. That's fair. Yeah. Also, kind of, I mean, unrelated to this line of talking, but I will say I think the cinematography was really good. Especially there's that one scene where Willa is being chased at the end, and you just see that like the camera's on the front of the car, and you really feel the motion of the camera, the way it's just going up and down the hills. I felt like a roller coaster, man. It was quite something. I've not seen many movies do a shot like that. Typically, would be like a static shot of just the cars going by, but seeing that amount of motion in a scene like that was really unique and really an interesting way to shoot it. And I don't know how you felt about it, but yeah, tell
yeah.
us what do you
It
think?
felt like the Mad Max sequence that George Miller never made in some ways. But I think George
Okay.
Miller. Okay, not that I maybe had false expectations, so this might be a little on me. I'm not appreciating for what it is. But I think when people said it was one of the best car chases in recent history, I was expecting a little more scale, I suppose, something more like a Mad Max. It's not that at all. It's obviously effective
Yeah,
in how simple it is. Um, Shout out to the location scouting. I'm assuming that's a big reason why that happened. I don't know if PTA had it in his mind to do to have those rolling hills as the setting, but if he did, obviously shout out to him too. Smart choice. Obviously, very it's
oh
it's
yeah,
yeah. Like once you have that setting, what else are you gonna do? Like it just feels like a very natural thing to do, which is why it's good, obviously. But I'm not as impressed as I was with, I guess, some other things that I like, other choices I've seen directors make this year, or even that he
yeah,
makes in this movie. But I still think it's a good sequence. Um, I do have a
yeah,
question for you about it. Why does
yeah, sure.
the Christmas adventurer guy? They're called the Christmas Adventurers. Why does he start following
Yeah.
her? Do you know? Do you remember why? Because how does
Well,
she
because
know that she's in the car?
I think because like I don't know, he must have seen like I think he must have. I want to say he probably saw like he probably went to the place first. You know, like where Sean Penn had done the exchange, like to the tried to do it to the neo Nazis and the trail, and then he figured out where that guy's car. You know, I mean, probably saw that she. I mean, he was also like mixed race, and like these people are racist, right? So there's some element of that in there. But I guess I don't know. I don't know. That wasn't really that much, but I mean, it was still. I don't know. I still found the sequence kind of engaging. Like
Oh
aside from
yeah,
that, I hadn't thought of that though.
yeah.
Interesting.
I found
Yeah.
it engaging in the moment, but when you think about when I thought back about some moments, there is like a certain amount of convenience and like stretching believability that he does here, which is not a bad thing if he delivers like emotionally interesting and interesting filmmaking, which he does for the most part, is not as effective as some of the other great movies this year, in my opinion. Especially for even movies that I think have some of their own flaws in that kind of logic. I think they have greater payoffs, um, or just less flaws, in my opinion, and how like kind of the logic of how things go down. But obviously, if you're enraptured the whole time, I could see why that could be so effective. I felt like I was out of it a little bit. Like I was a little more in a critical mindset, like where I was like seeing. I wasn't in the narrative as much, so I was like almost critiquing it from the outside, if you know what I mean. So then at some points things were less effective, but it's still very good even from that perspective. Even though I found like some things to be like a little convenient, I guess.
Yeah.
The whole
That's fair.
concept
Yeah.
of
No.
Del Toro's character helping out Bob as much as he does is like a little too nice in some ways. Same with the fact that Willa, thank God, obviously she's handed off to someone who's not going to let them kill and potentially do other stuff to a 16-year-old girl when
Yeah,
he goes in and shoots the guys who clearly are about to kill her at least, and maybe other stuff.
yeah, yeah. No, I thought. Yeah, no, that's fair. It was. There's definitely some elements there that quite sure about too. Now that you mention it, but I mean, I don't know. I still think it was a good car chase. I must admit, I hadn't heard anyone saying it was describing like one of the best car chases like a little bit. I heard nothing about that. So like when I saw the sequence, so I think maybe having this extra going maybe made you enjoy that sequence a little bit. I just wonder who would have told you that because I think like it's a different kind of car chase. You know, it's
Yeah,
not like you would typically see. It's very understated, like you said. I like the way it ends as well. Like it doesn't end in the typical fashion where it's like a duel between vehicles. Like Willa finds an opportunity to be creative and uses the training that her dad obviously prepared her with, and also like Sensei Sergio, and like just
she does
I mean
something
honestly
smart,
that is
pretty logical.
yeah no very logical. I mean she used the rolling hills. I thought realistically when you're on the highway like and you're on it, you can't really see what's coming up ahead, and if that guy's going fast, like very plausible thing to have happen. So it was a smart decision on her part, and I think that's probably why I like her so much because she's very capable. She was able to help get herself out of harm's way. Like she did the whole like she swapped her cuffs to the front. And instead of keeping them in the back, she was able to get the car keys immediately. She knows how to weapon. She immediately used her code phrase to discern if this guy was trying to harm her or not. And I don't know, like I think she was kind of badass, and I liked her. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I think
it was a good sequence from that regard.
yeah, it's nice how obviously she gets the chance to be active in her own way, and she's not just a damsel in distress the whole time, even though she kind of is. And at first she's a little bit, yeah, like it's a nice arc overall where she at the beginning she's kind of a liability where she literally lies about actually having a phone, and that like kind of puts
Yeah,
them in a little more trouble than they could have been potentially. But then, oh, she ultimately does kind of make the right choices in escaping from this situation when she gets the opportunity, which I thought was smart. And it's obviously satisfying to see her outsmart this guy because he
yeah.
sucks for clear reasons with his fucking Patagonia shit on.
This fucking vest. It's just crazy because like I mean the way people are presented in this movie, like it's very. I think that's why this movie felt so timely because there wasn't just the the type of racist you would like you normally would see in the media where it's like oh vehemently like rednecks uneducated but you're seeing the more type of like racist and fascist like beliefs we're seeing in US politics right now. These are very smart, very educated individuals who are very cunning in the way they're using their discriminatory practices and I mean not just discriminatory practices but they're hunting down minorities essentially and killing them or anything people who've had any interaction with them as
Yeah,
sort of like a morality place, and like that to me I think made me appreciate the movie even more. It could not have come out at a better time either. Like this moment in history is rife for political commentary as we sort of talk. It was a very timely movie, and it fucked me up a little bit because like not made me cry but fucking my head. This is just like what's going on right now in a lot of regards, like the way you're seeing like the police handle some of these and the police and like immigration custom enforcement very similar to how we're seeing now, and the way they're cracking down on it. Resistance to this is also very similar to what we're seeing. And yeah, no, I was glad to see this movie at this point. I don't know how long PTA's been cooking this for, but like he made it in the right time, I think. So yeah.
yeah. I mean, I would say that I feel some films address this topic better in my mind. Like I think some documentaries and some other films
Well, of course,
maybe
yeah.
address this just
I
as
mean,
well,
no
if not
no
better.
film is gonna do better than a documentary, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But even like I wouldn't say this necessarily had like not that I want to compare commentary, but I wouldn't even say something like Superman necessarily has weaker commentary than something like this. And they're very different movies, obviously, but I think they are both interesting in some way, like for their own reasons. Um, Not that it's wrong for a probably more affluent white man to be talking about these things at the scale he is, and obviously I appreciate the movies as a whole. It does feel like there's some element of authenticity missing, which I know is what this fiction is supposed to do to some extent. It's supposed to show you a fiction that kind of represents the feeling or how, it seems the world is rather than what it actually is to,
yeah.
maybe help us reflect better on our own realities. But I think to a large extent, this is kind of stuff we already like think about and talk about on a daily basis, which is like still a good movie to be made. I think it's not
Yeah.
necessarily the most important thing to be talking about. I guess I just don't feel necessarily, I guess to the same extent as you, that is like the perfect movie for our times necessarily. I think this is a good movie
Well, I
for
don't know
any
if it's a
time,
perfect movie,
but like
but
not like
I just think because I don't know, it just feels really
yeah,
because it feels like it's only getting worse over
hmm
there. It doesn't seem like it's getting any better.
yeah,
And I don't know, like I do like when art, kind of comes out as like I don't want to say like a resistance because like I'm not saying this is like this is gonna change the tide of like everything that's going. It's definitely like a protest piece in a way if you think about it like that. So I know the original movie, not the original movie, the original story was like came out around the 80s and it was kind of set around, from what I understand. And
yeah,
I know the PTA kind of tweaked it to make it fit more into this like time frame, and I guess I see why now. Like it makes a lot of sense, and I think that's why I appreciate it. But
yeah.
so
No, I think it works. Obviously, it does capture the feeling that like any time this kind of thing could happen to a group of people, almost regardless of their level of activity. I think it especially speaks to the. I honestly liked more the, and it's more in the background, but the way that Benicio del Toro's character kind of is the center of this, like ends up being the center for us of this community of this like sanctuary city that see like basically portrayed as being very used to these kind of army raids and conflict to the point where he's just so cool the whole time. He's like chill about the whole thing because there's a sadness to it because it's almost like this is just another Wednesday for government authorities to be coming into his community and trying to fuck shit up essentially.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
because you can very much see it as like you can imagine ice or probably ice coming into this community and like you know messing with the community's businesses and people in order to find undocumented immigrants, so they approach it the same way, like where like they already have a plan, and like for him this is just kind of almost a regular occurrence in some to some extent, and it's almost a nature for him in his community, like a matter of they need to be ready for this kind of thing. They didn't and they never chose necessarily to be in this life because you can imagine a lot of the times the immigrant refugee story is that there was necessity to having to leave the country and go to America in this case. And
Yeah.
so they never got to choose the life the way that it feels to some extent. Obviously the revolutionaries got to choose a little bit to be into the life, and then in some ways they chose once things were like very hectic to like try to not be a part of it as strongly, at least obviously because they didn't have the proper resources at that point. But I liked that part more overall because I think
Mhm.
it's a little more that's a little more urgent to me for people who almost basically don't have a choice, and yet
Yeah,
they are still thrown into conflict that violates their human rights potentially and has them subject to authoritarian military police, even though
yeah,
that is just not their intention and they are very much peaceful people. Obviously, you can have more mixed opinions. I think naturally there will be more mixed opinions about the violent revolutionaries and what they're doing. And obviously, you can see their more pure motives trying to help. Again, those who potentially had no choice but to come to America being in detainment camps and trying to free them. Obviously, that's a very simple thing to like bring people into in the first place, and then I guess it a little bit gets lost what they're doing from there. For me, at least, I don't know if you have any other thoughts, but I also liked the ending though, where there's like a more hopeful,
yeah.
kind of relatable thing where like we need to continue to push back
Fight.
against
Yeah,
these authoritarian, potentially fascist figures and people coming into these communities and you know
yeah,
fight for the rights of the innocent and for the welfare of people who maybe are not able to help themselves as much as a lot of
yeah,
these people obviously can.
yeah. No, no, I would agree with you there. I think the ending was pretty. I liked how it finished. I like how it all wrapped up, and yeah, I mean, no, it left me feeling. I left the theater feeling like very blown away, and honestly, like I would probably see it again, which probably is. I think it's a good sign. When I have an urge, it's a worthwhile film. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the authority, but you know what I mean. Like it's like typically if there's a movie I want to continuously see, and I feel like probably a lot of other audience members will feel that way too. Like it means it's something special. So
Yeah, I appreciate that this is a movie that I think all feel confident. I think hopefully a lot of other people feel confident showing to friends and family who don't. I guess for someone like not that I feel like I sound pretentious when I say this, but was someone who watches a lot of movies that has constant themes of resisting authoritarian regimes and like you know
yeah,
pretty liberal ideas. It doesn't feel revolutionary in that sense. What makes it maybe revolutionary is the emotional experience a lot of people got out of it, the filmmaking, and how the filmmaking aided that, and then also just how entertaining it is as a film um, overall, and how well it is made. Like those two coming together so well, and how like it meshes so many elements that have made PTA so famous, from the eccentric
yeah,
characters to the very specific characterization of kind of a stoner or psychopaths. Like you can see a little bit of Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood in Stephen Lockjaw. You can see a little bit of Joaquin Phoenix's character in Inherent Vice, who's like a stoner in
yeah,
Bob. Um, and so I think those kind of it does like I can see why a lot of people consider it so important to PTA's career to address the fact that this film is being called like an all timer. I think at this point, I still have reservations about that. I think it's still very good, and I think there's a lot of things to love about it. Um, I would be a little disappointed if it won Best Picture over Sinners or Hamnet at this point. I will say
yeah.
that.
No, I will say, like I did prefer Sinners, and I talked to my roommate about this. We came out of it, but yeah, no, I still firmly my favorite film of the year. I hope we don't get some more recency bias though that goes against Sinners because I think it would be a crime if it didn't win. I mean, at the same time, I don't know. I must admit, I wouldn't be super mad if like a film like this did win, but I do have a strong preference for Sinners to win. I feel like
Yeah,
I think it's much more deserving if I'm being completely honest with you. But this is still a great film. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I look forward to watching it again. So yeah.
yeah. For something
Also,
that.
one last thing I wanted to
Oh
mention.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Why does Sean Penn's character always walk like he's about to shit himself?
Because he's masculine. I think the whole idea is that he's putting on a performance constantly, and that's why his character is that way. Because he's constantly trying to prove how
Oh yeah.
masculine and straight and white and that kind of figure he is to everyone else around him.
Mhm.
And you could imagine him doing that throughout his whole life, even though he clearly has a side that he's ashamed of. And he probably that performance is more extreme, probably because he has that side of him that he doesn't want people to see ever. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's details like that in the way he talks that will very much probably get Sean Penn an Oscar nomination. I really don't hope he wins, to be honest, but I can see why he's such a highlight of the film for so many people because he naturally has
Yeah.
to be kind of with how much he's in it. Um,
Yeah.
you know, I guess quickly to recap, um, yeah, Oscar prospects is that if this is a Best Picture winner. It would be my villain in some ways, but this is like the best villain of all time in my mind. Like this is like compared to
It's
something
not
like
like a
Green
bad.
Book or Coda,
Nah.
even, which I like the latter of those two,
Yeah.
and mixed on the first one. For that to be the kind of like if I sort of have those feelings at the moment where I'm like I would much rather something else win to a pretty strong degree, but it is still a very good film, and I won't be mad. I'll just be kind of underwhelmed. I think there would be more excitement in seeing another Chloe Zhao win or a Ryan Coogler win. Because
Yeah.
PTA, he's already that guy. People will respect the shit out of him for the rest of his goddamn life, no matter. He honestly could probably make 5 mid movies, and people will still call him one of the greatest to ever do it. Especially at this point, considering how many people are just raving about this film. Um,
Mhm.
and I think anyone who goes into it will like it. Go in with the expectation that you'll like it probably, and I think that will go for almost anyone. It has a very good cinema score, which is nice to see. Um, it's not just us cinephile PTA stands who love this movie, which is nice to see. But it'll be nice to hopefully, know that you'll go into this movie to like it. Don't expect it to be a masterpiece. And it's so hard always like and you should never think that about any film.
Yeah.
But it's just obviously easier to think, "Oh, people are calling it an all-timer. It has to be a masterpiece in my mind." And that's a hard thing
Yeah.
to do no matter what.
No, that's true. But I mean, honestly, that was the way I went into this movie. I must admit, like I had not looked at the reviews. I didn't. I didn't really watch it. We saw in theaters, and like they didn't like wow me or anything like that. But so I went in with no expectations. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I like Paul. I think Paul Thomas Anderson's a great director. You're right. Like you can't go in expecting it to be a masterpiece, and I didn't, and certainly really made me appreciate and enjoy the movie as much as I did. Like
Yeah.
I went in sort of not that excited and coming out wanting to watch it again, which is a great experience for me. So
Yeah. Like I went into it thinking that next week I'll go all the way to Vaughn to see the 70 millimeter in IMAX. I'm not really
yeah,
there. I will watch this movie if someone else in my life is interested in it enough. Like, finds the premise interesting. I'll be like, yeah, you should go see it, and maybe I'll go with you. But I'm definitely not like, okay, I'm gonna go alone as soon as I have free time. I don't think
yeah,
it's not that urgent to me. But I think I want some space. Like I think I want to maybe revisit it closer to Oscar season, and then maybe I'll be more charitable about it. And it is still
yeah,
something I'm definitely strongly thinking about rewatching. Maybe even more so than some of the stuff I have above it, because I want to see if there's something that I think there's more rewatchability potential in this than maybe some of the other movies I came out of TIFF loving more. But it won't probably be better than something like Sinners for me. But I could see it going up a little bit on a rewatch. I could see the potential.
yeah.
And that's me already
Should
really
we?
liking
Oh,
it.
sorry. Yeah, that's fair. So I didn't mean to cut you off there. I was just gonna ask if you do you have anything else you want to say about it, or should we give it a score?
Um, I guess I was quickly thinking about this. It's not really a father-daughter story too much, I'd say, there because of how separated they are throughout most of the film. You can obviously see you know, despite how kind of fucked he is, Bob is doing anything he can to make sure he can be reunited with Willa and keep her safe. Is he very good at that? No, and that's kind of the point. He falls off a fucking roof. Um, I was kind of surprised he was walking after that shit. I was like, goddamn,
Yeah,
like
no, I was like, holy
it's like
fuck, he
they're
fell like
saying he just like is
like
still
two
walking,
stories.
like he didn't like he's not even he's barely limping. Like how the hell? But you know,
That's pretty crazy.
very entertaining movie. Benicio del Toro's kind of my MVP though. I think he did
Yeah,
exactly
Ryan
what
said the same thing. He really
he
enjoyed his
could.
character. I like Sir Sensei Sergio. Cool guy.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
cool
mind
guy.
hanging out with him. Yeah.
And it was funny to have Leo screaming out "fuck the police, viva la revolution."
Yeah.
That was funny.
That was pretty funny, actually. Yeah, I think he because of that his nickname in the film was Ghetto Pat. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hasn't been this funny, I'd say, since The Wolf of Wall Street, and
Oh fuck! That's a good point, actually.
but he's better, a
Is
lot
he
better in The
hilarious in
Wolf
the
of Wall
movie?
Street. Honestly, this is kind
Okay.
of a mid. It's crazy to say this. This is kind of a mid Leonardo DiCaprio performance. If he wins, that would be absolutely ridiculous. I would get Sean Penn.
Oh
I
yeah.
wouldn't get this win at all. I think Jeremy Allen White playing Bruce Springsteen would make a lot more sense at this point. We'll
Yeah.
see. I'm a little worried about that category in some ways. But I mean, this isn't an Oscar thing. What? Who else is like Timothy Chalamet? Oh, Dwayne Johnson would deserve it over him. In the Smashing Machine. It's my
That's kind of
official
crazy to say.
take. No,
No,
it's
not that
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's like
No,
not
no
that I think
it,
the
in
Smash Machine's really
concept, yeah.
bad.
Like the
Just
new
yeah,
Dwayne Johnson movie
yeah,
is more of an Oscar
yeah,
player in my mind, and almost worthy too than Leo's performance in something that is now projected to win Best Picture. But yeah, that is my take.
yeah. All right. Shall we give it a score then?
Yeah. Well, what did you give
All
it?
right. I'd probably give it like, if I'm being honest, like a 9. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It was great.
Yeah.
No notes. No more notes. So
Yeah. I
9.
mean, 2 hours and 40 minutes, being ridiculously entertaining, and a lot to talk and think about. Lots of so many great elements. Some underbaked ones, but a lot of things to think about, and maybe an underwhelming ending for me overall. But um, yeah, 9 out of 10. But a weaker 9, closer to an 8 than a 10 for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
So my number
All
9 of
right.
the year behind Frankenstein.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Not too bad. Alrighty. Well, I would say we should do the Metacritic battle, but I have a paper to start prepping for a bit more. I busy rest of the weekend, so I gotta get to that unfortunately. But we'll have
Right.
to go. We can go over the Metacritic battle like another time, maybe next thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, that was a good episode.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching as always. We do appreciate it. Like very cool stuff. The fact that we're still here and doing this since high school, it's pretty fun. Like
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're growing as film enjoyers. Through various forms of education and work. In your case, Daniel. So it's nice to see the evolution. I think our discussions are only keep getting better. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. No, I always appreciate talking to you, and yeah,
Mhm.
hopefully we'll have more episodes out, maybe 1 or 2 more before Christmas or the end of the year.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, and yeah, go check out One Battle After Another. Form your own opinion about it. It's just a strong recommend all around, though. I think anyone will
Oh yeah.
enjoy this movie and get a good amount out of it.
100%. I completely agree with you.
Well, I guess we'll
Have a
see
good
you
one, guys.
guys in the next one. Bye bye.